Hello YouTube, Byron at Splitting Slices. Welcome back to the Knife and EDC channel. Today is Monday, January 19, 2026, and that means a couple things. First of all, happy birthday to my daughter-in-law, W. I hope you have a great day. Number two, I've got to wish my Indiana Hoosiers all of the best in tonight's Bowl Championship Series national title game with the Miami Hurricanes. The best of luck, and Hoosiers, please bring home that trophy. And number three, it's time to do a knife review. And because of tonight's festivities, which will probably include a couple of my favorite beverages from my local brewer here in Indianapolis, I had what could only be called an epiphany. And that is about the knife that we're going to talk about today's video. This is the Rough Ryder Reserve, RRR004, and it is called the Bar Back folding knife or the cap lifter. Depends on which company you buy it from. It is on sale currently at most Rough Ryder Reserve dealers. I can tell you at the time of filming, this knife retailed for around $27, sale price at Chicago Knife Works. It currently retails for a list price of about $80 and can be found at SMKW currently for around $50. Now, the epiphany that I had was, while I love the fact that Rough Ryder Reserve has innovated and brought back some older patterns, including this cap lifter series, I think there were some liberties, some accoutrements added to this knife that, quite frankly, fell short. We're going to get into it here. This knife, let's go over the specifications. So it is called the Bar Back folder knife. It has two blades, both the same length of 2 3/8 long. They are both made of D2 tool steel. One is a wharncliffe that has the cap lifter mechanism on it. The second one is a spear point or a pen blade, if you want to call it that. The overall close length on this knife is 3 5/8 inches. It is a good pocket size to put in the pocket, but there are some issues. We'll get into it here in a bit. What else can I tell you? This knife weighs overall 3.5 ounces or 99 grams. Your Wharncliffe cap lifter blade has an 1 7/8 inch cutting edge, and the spear point has a 2 1/8 inch cutting edge. All right, handles on this are canvas micarta. Does have a wood-grained pattern on both sides of this knife. This also has pinned construction with nickel-silver pins, stainless steel fluted bolster heads, a front and a rear-headed bolster, and does have brass liners. Now, as usual with the Rough Ryder Reserve series, very few manufacturing flaws. This knife is done spectacular. No gaps between the liners and the springs on the back. Nice contoured scales on that canvas micarta. Beautiful arrowhead shield. Transitions are smooth at the hefting on the scales and the bolsters. Yeah, just a beautifully constructed, high-quality pocket knife. But now the elephant in the room. Let's talk about it. Let's open up the first blade. We'll use that nail nick, crescent-shaped moon, match strike type nick. Beautiful spear point or pen-style blade with the RRR logo, D2 steel made in China. If we close that blade, we turn the knife over, we can get to a second nail nick, and we can open up this Wharncliffe / cap lifter blade. Very slicey blade of D2 steel. Very flat edge on this. You have your cap lifter mechanism on the top of the blade. You have basically a hump then on midway down the spine, and then has a swedge from about 2/3 down the spine to the tip of the blade. Now, while that makes it nice for a little pokey action, if you do have to penetrate a plastic bag or open up a bag of snacks as a bar back, it does present some ergonomic issues, and that is the elephant in the room on this knife. Now, a couple things. This knife, although it is very small, I have extra large size hands, and it makes this knife extremely comfortable to use by being able to use that big finger choil to open up both draw cuts, packages, and to use the cap lifter, right? Because what you can do is when you turn this knife over and you go to put your thumb in that groove to open up a beer bottle or your favorite beverage, it allows plenty of room for safe access to that to do that job. So kudos for the excellent thumb area for cap lifting when using this as a bar back knife. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and close this blade. We'll open up that spear again. And it is a beautiful blade, perfect size for making cuts, more of an all-purpose utility cutter here. Now, the problem, the elephant in the room. When you go to use this secondary blade to try to cut, I count no less than 4 hot spots in my hand to try to use this blade while dealing with all of the sharp corners and points and that thin swedge on the top of that blade to do draw cuts. It makes this knife almost unusable in the secondary blade cutting. All right. In fact, I think the fact that I have bigger hands helps with that. If you had smaller hands and would have to use this knife, I think you would find all kinds of hot spots, sharp corners, and basically things that end up gouging your fingers and making it uncomfortable. So most cap lifter knives have 2 blades that come off the same end of the knife, and then has the cap lifter in a blade almost the shape of, say, a nail file. In fact, some of them used to have a file on one side and the cap lifter built into the blade. While I think this is a very unique shape pattern, has lots of character, personality, the fact that you have those, well, up to 4 sharp points, hot spots while trying to use that secondary blade just makes this knife almost unusable in one respect, and therefore really decreases the value or the desire to have it in one's collection. I will let you make that determination, but if you are looking for a unique knife built extremely well, fairly small as far as carrying it in a slip. Now I carry it in this leather slip. I usually go ahead and put the large end at the bottom just to protect, I'll turn it over too, just to protect all of that steel so that I have a minimal amount of steel hanging out the end, and place this in my pocket so it doesn't get scratched. This is a very comfortable way to carry the knife. However, if you do not carry this knife or don't like slips and you try to carry this in your pocket, you've got a couple tangle points and tear points for your fingers and the edges of your pocket, again making it uncarryable in some respects. So if you like this knife, it is an excellent built knife, nice sharp blades, and if you're willing to carry it in a slip, I highly suggest that, and it carries well for a smaller knife. So there's my epiphany. If you are a knife designer and you want to design a new bar back knife, I would go back to the traditional 2 blades on the same end bolster design with more of a rectangular square cap lifting blade. And that's going to do it for me today. This is Byron from Splitting Slices saying split a slice with a friend soon. I hope you enjoy your week. And until my next video, everybody please take care.